Okay, just like to welcome you to this instructional DVD about the combative use of improvised weapons. This DVD is geared towards accompanying the manual of the same name that was written by myself and fellow CQB instructor John Deacon. Basically, the crux of the DVD is going to cover improvised tools that we carry on our person while we're out and about. A couple of things about that. Under UK law, anything we carry mustn't be a weapon by design, nor must it be adapted in any way to be used as such. So for instance, you can't be using a walking stick sharpening the end to make it into a point. That's adapting it into a weapon. So anything that we have must have a primary function for its main use. So for instance, a pen, its main use is to write with, obviously. Secondary use is going to be as a stabbing implement, as we'll see. A phone in this case, which is another favoured impact tool, is a communications device. Secondary purpose is going to be used as an impact tool, again, as we'll see. From here we're looking at keys, obviously to open certain locations, my door, my car, etc, etc, but also used as a weapon, either as a projectile or as a cutting tool, as we'll see. These are the primary tools that we carry on our person. What's also relative to that fact is carry, where I carry it, and habitual practice to employ it and bring it into play very quickly. This is taking the idea or the concept of using improvised weapons a stage further, and obviously it has to be a trained response. So just to recap, primary tools are going to be a metal pen that we'll carry in a pocket carry here, strong dominant side, in this case my left. This is called an appendix carry. We'll carry it in the pocket this way or anywhere across from here, anywhere here down. The access is gross motor, tap, thumb behind, pull to bring it into play in various ways, as we'll see. The keys for me are carried on a carabiner in my right hand pocket. Simply tap and access the bunch of keys here. If I need to employ it straight away, I'll use it as a projectile, or I might just smash the keys into the face. If I've got foresight and awareness, which I should have, then I'll articulate one key into my hand in a way in which I can use it, as we'll show you soon. So keys, pen and phone are the primary tools that we're concerned with carrying. These should also be, commonality should be they're right here in close access to where I keep my elbows, where I keep my hands from my situational fence. The other thing that we might carry also is a tactical flashlight. Here I'll carry this in a loop carry. This is a small tactical flashlight with a high output of light, but various other ones can be brought into play. Similar cheap models like this don't necessarily have a clip, but you have other kinds of access. So the primary tools we're looking at, again once more, pen, phone and keys. Secondary to that we use a flashlight. Finally, something else I'll carry on my person will be a metal watch, which I can employ in backhanded kind of attacks, which will basically aggravate the wound. I'm also going to employ the watch as a kind of method of deception, as we'll see when we come to that module. So these are the primary kit that we carry. Basically anything that we can hold in our hand or pick up and put into our hand we can strike with, but this is the primary kit. So we're functional on these areas, and then we're going to move on to the kind of stuff that you might find in your environment. So for instance, if you're out and about, if you're in a house, in a shop, in a bar, wherever you are, there's always something to hand. And the transition between what you're carrying on you and where you're going is what you'll find in your car or the vehicle that you use. All these areas are going to be covered, and this kind of information, along with what's in the manual, will give you a broad scope and outlook. Couple of points about UK law. Like I've said, nothing is allowed to be carried by a weapon by design. So no weapons suitable for combat are a go. They're an absolute no-no. Anything you use must have, as I've said before, primary function for something else, and will only be really of any use to you if they're in your strong dominant hand when you need them. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where all of a sudden you're taken by surprise because you've got a lack of awareness, and then think you're going to bring into play whatever you're carrying, because you're just going to forget about it. It's even on your person. So how you train is most definitely how you fight. You need to bring in this kind of access and employment, integration of using the tools that you've got along with your empty hand skills into your training. awareness and foresight is the power base of all of this. So for instance, if I'm walking in an area that's unfamiliar to me, I'm going to access my pen, I'm going to put it in my hand and hide it and just walk along with it. If I'm going to my car, I'll have my key ready in my hand in a way in which I can use it. This is foresight and awareness. Now if I get myself in a problem, I can stick with the common combative routes. Unarmed combatives are only designed for those foolish enough to be caught without a weapon during wartime. The thinking was, if you've got a problem with somebody or the enemy, then shoot the bastard. If you can't shoot him, then stab him. If you can't shoot him or stab him, then beat the snot out of him until you can access a weapon and do just that. Okay, obviously the rules of engagement for the private citizen or civilian self-protection, particularly in the UK, are completely different. But the mindset is exactly the same, the combative mindset. So for instance, I want to be proactive in my response. If I can't avoid an escape, then I'm going to be proactive and take the fight to the aggressor. If I can hit him with a tiger claw, that's great, and follow up with my strikes, that's great, that's the way I'll train. If I can pick up an ashtray and do the same thing, then that's combative thinking. So if I'm going to employ a combative attitude in terms of where I'm actually going to have to fight, then I want the highest probability of success. I know I could put someone down with a tiger claw most times, but put a rock in my hand while I do it, then I'm pretty much guaranteed that I'm going to ensure my success. All that the improvised weapons are going to do are going to allow you to hit harder and cause more damage, and as long as that's in line with the law, if you have justification, if you have the honest belief that your life's in danger, etc., etc., you need to research all these facts. But the basic bottom line is, improvised tool is only any good to you if it's in your strong dominant hand when you need to use it. Okay, just want to use this next exercise just as an example to show you how our basic hard skill combative strikes are gross motor in nature, very simple, not complex, very simple to operate with under stress. Can be applied to anything you hold in your hand. Most basic example, tiger claw strike. From here, the way I perform it, here, strike, hold, and strike multiple times. Applied in its most simple, basic gross motor form, pick up rock, hit. Well, first bit of kit we're going to look at is the use of the key. Going to employ the services of our trusty dummy Bob. Actually, this location is our secret garage gym location, if you're wondering where we are. So the simplest way to use a key is, if this is your access method of carry, I'm going to pat here, access the tool. Now it's in my hand. So if it's in my hand, from here I can put, my first option could be to strike with it, smash it straight into the face, or if it's here, just cup into the head with it, or I could use it as a projectile. So I might pat, access it here, and then just fling it into his face to create a distraction. From there, just close the line and come in with my tools, my main tools from there. It's very important that you understand to integrate the use of improvised tools, or any weapon, along with your unarmed skills. If we've got foresight and awareness, which we should have, then we're going to use the key in this sense. Taking one key, possibly a yow key, hold it between your forefinger and your thumb, trap it in place, extend ½ an inch. Influence here from McCann. What we're looking at using this is a slash or a stabbing implement. Now, when I say foresight, it makes sense that whenever you're on your way to your car or to your house, that your keys are ready in your hand. Why would a woman on her own walk to her car at night late, dig through her handbag to find a key? It's not street smart, doesn't make sense. So get the key in your hand while you're walking along the road, stay switched on and aware, strong dominant hand. Now if you get a problem, your hands are up, use situational control. This looks non-aggressive. The first line of attack or offence is going to be with the use of the key. So we're going to break the skill down for you. First of all, we're going to use it much the same way as you incorporate the use of a knife. So we're going to use just kind of an overhand angle, slashing downward here. Okay, this is an A strike, coming across for an A. Then we might come back here with a kind of horizontal cut, that's a B, and then I'll come in with a thrust. So what I'm looking at is A, B, C, this kind of method. Okay? So I'm going to use target soft tissue areas, the eyes, the cheek, the throat, anywhere from here, just from this kind of hands up, subservient position. I'm going to drop weight in and just slash the face. Here, just nip the eye here, just slash real hard. From here I'm going to create enough trauma to make the person turn away, create this panic response, which is going to allow me to leg it. stun and run tactics is what you're looking at. You've got a certain degree of damage limitation because you've only got half of an inch of an implement to use. It's unlikely that you'll exactly get the eye, but you might. That's primary. But anywhere on the face is going to open it up, as you'll see in a second when we use another training piece of kit, the cardboard pad. From here, the motion I'm going to teach you is simply drop in and slash to come back. Then once you've learned that, I want you to slash, then back slash again. Okay, so just making an X, like this, and back. First motion. Then back, this way. Now I'm going to thrust. So either into the throat, into the eye. So from here I'm looking at slash, slash, stab. That's the basic motion. Okay, simplest piece of kit you can use to practice this method of the key is a cardboard target. Basically I've taken 2 layers of cardboard, taped them together and drawn a face on. Okay, to give you some idea of target acquisition. Now 2 pieces of cardboard together is at least as tough as the consistency on your face. Now what you'll see when we put it against the pad and implement the key as a striking tool or a cutting tool, you'll see the kind of damage that it can inflict. So I'm going to call Neil in, and he's going to hold the pad with the cardboard target, and we're going to progress from that. Okay, so hold it realistic height, about head height. So from here the first motion that we're going to use, keep it nice and flat. From here I'm just going to drop weight here and slash. As you can see, it's opening the cardboard right up here. Then I would integrate the use of the elbow to follow up. So that's the first way we use the key. Okay. Well, as you can see, just from using the key on the cardboard, I mean, it's opened up the target really nice just with a simple slash of the key. It's certainly going to create enough trauma to the face to allow you to escape or follow up, which is your objective. Okay, if we look at how we can integrate the use of our empty hand skills in with the use of this, in this case the key. From here, my first starter for 10 is going to be a lead hand tiger jab. So from here I'm going to drop in, throw this into the face here. From here I'll get the head back where I'll slash and stab to the neck. From here I'll then follow up with an elbow strike off that. So the motion from here, 1, slash, slash, stab, check an elbow, finish up with 1 more elbow. And then real time, piss all over his day.
We're now going to take a look at the use of a mobile phone as an impact weapon. I'm here using a dud Nokia, but anything of this dimension, size, shape is great. Virtually everybody in this day and age carries a mobile phone, and it's one of the things that you're going to get targeted for in a street robbery. So you may as well learn how to use it tactically for your own advantage.
Okay, now John is going to demonstrate another example of employing artifice or misdirection before the assault. Go on, John.
Look, it's a different bird, honestly. I'll show you a number.
Right, in this example we're going to use the mobile phone as an impact weapon. I'm holding it in my hand as I would use it, not any different. I'm not pushing it forward or pushing it down or articulating it in any way which is abnormal to the way I would hold it to speak. In this particular example, I've had the foresight to get the phone in my hand, or it may be that I've been approached whilst on my phone with a high degree of observation still. From here the person's starting to encroach on my space, which is reason enough to deal with the situation. From here I'm controlling with this hand. I'm going to employ a question to his brain with this hand. So for example I might say, what is it this you want? And in this example all I've done is strike with a normal cradle blow to the throat, holding the phone no differently, look upward, palm downward as I prefer, and from here I'm going to seize forward, get hold of whatever I can, continue my assault anywhere on the high line using the
We're going to take a look at it. It's a really simple one using 2 hands. We're going to take the assumption that you've been approached, there's some kind of dialogue, an exchange between you and the person that's going to give you a problem. So what we're going to do is line him up like this and ask any kind of question you want to engage the brain. What, you want this? It's an old piece of shit. And we're there. Straight in. Display my hands like this, as if I'm talking, for exclamation. Added impact. I've then slammed both my hand with the phone and my open palm to the side of the head. I'm not interested whereabouts I get him. Ideally, across the ear on this side and anywhere along the jawline, the cheekbone, side of the nose, temple, for the phone. It might only be a piece of plastic, But when you're adding the impact of this hand in conjunction with this hand, and you're being very aggressive, the guy's shocked because he thinks he's targeted you for a victim, then you're going to get a really good effect. Following that, I've simply drew back, keeping pressure on the face for disorientation. I'm cupping the end of the mobile phone so it doesn't slip out of my hand when I hit with it, and I'm just smashing into the face. Again, bridge of the nose, cheekbone, jaw, teeth, eyes, head, doesn't matter. This is a training dummy. It isn't going to crouch, it's not going to turn away, it's not going to put its arms up to guard. You have to take this into consideration when you're training. That is why a lot of the times we'll use multiple gross motor strikes, because you really need to make that impression. If the guy covers up, then you need to change, go for a low line attack. For this purpose, we're concentrating solely on the head, because that's going to be the target for the phone.
That's a nice phone, isn't it?
It's nice, isn't it?
Fuck your better in my pocket. Give me the fucking phone. I want your phone.
I want this.
Give me your phone.
In addition to the methods we've looked at already of using the phone, I just want to add a couple more. Basically, I want to show you how we're going to employ the basic hard skill tools to a phone exactly the same way, but this time from extreme close quarters. So what I'm looking at from here is my hands are really quite high. I'm going to drop forward and throw a hammer fist strike straight down onto his chin, and then come in with an elbow from here. From here I'm going to come back with the same hammer fist and throw an elbow on the other side. So the sequence here is 1, 2, 1, 2 here. Okay. Now I'm going to apply the same thing to my mobile phone from here. So my initial starter for 10, it's going to be hands up high holding the phone. I drop, hammer fist with the phone, come in with the elbow, same weapon bearing limb comes back through, and I throw this shot. So from here in real time, just a way we can apply our hard skills to an impact tool. Okay, one additional one that I like to work from here is the use of the cradle blow, which is the web of hand strike. Again, coming into the throat, slightly further away now. Before I'm at extreme close quarters, here I'm more at conversation, talking range. I'm going to whip in my hip and throw this shot to the throat, straight in, here. And assuming he's still in the game, I'm going to come from this, close quarters, and use the elbow, and then from here, back into this again. Okay. So employed with the phone, it's the same method from here, straight into the windpipe here with the phone. Or I might turn it under like this and come up under the chin, this way. Again, you might employ artifice. I might say something like, look, it's a different bird, I'll show you a number. Here. Or you might ask him if he wants the phone. I might say, what, you want my phone? 1, 2. So here's the combination from here. Cradle blow, elbow, hammer fist elbow, and then with the phone, straight in, 1, 1, 2.
I'm now going to go through 3 sequences utilising the pen as a weapon. For the first one, in exactly the same comfortable position that I'm using now, I'm going to axe hand out, drop in my head, chin, cover my neck, and I'm also simultaneously going to slap my pocket here to access my pen, gross motor movement, and then plough in to stab high line, middle line and low line. I could also slash and stab, but primarily with a weapon of this type we want to gouge into the face, body, groin to create shock and trauma. So here it is, real time. Back off and away, assess. Okay, second in sequence, I'm going to be using a cover, spiked elbow, dropping into the target, ideally the body area to knock the wind out of him. And as before, slap to access, gouge to the low line, the groin, up into the face, neck area. I may be using this proactively, or it may be that for some reason I was switched off, been taken by surprise, and that's my first reflex action here, dropping into the target aggressively to take the ground and bring the fight back to me. So again, real time, and again back off away,
You've got your rangefinder here, your weapons cocked, you're ready in case you need to engage again and escalate violence. Again, quickly. Like so. Last in the sequence, using the pen, is a peacow draw. This is a particular favourite of mine, but it takes a lot of practice to get it right. You see now I'm wearing the pen in exactly the same position here, appendix carry, but this time, to access, I'm going to insert my thumb here behind it, using my flat fingers like this, to make sure that I've got a good grip of the weapon. Now, unless you've had a lot of practice with this kind of thing, it's quite easy to foul it up. Pen might go flying out, or you might not get it at all. So ideally what you want to do is have your hands here ready in the first place. If you switched on, you've seen something or whatever, or you're just talking, you need to pat your pocket, it's there, and you're out. From this position, I'm going to go straight into a guard here, what we call a cross fend. So my weapon is already out. I've effectively covered my head, my chin's tucked in, and I can use one of two weapons now to start my cycle going, to build my aggression and plough through the enemy now. So real slow to start with. I'm either engaged in conversation and I'm going for it, or ideally it's there. Remember, you don't have to have both hands in your pockets. You can have one here like this, anything, yeah? And that's where your cover is. That's where your first strike is. But to start with, I'm going to have both hands in my pockets. I'm going to bring this up, duck, see how I dip my body here, and then spring out, first with an axe hand, and then rake straight down with the hammer fist, tiger claw, offhand goes out, and we're into that cycle. It's a real simple movement, very explosive, and it provides you with that quick time assault that we're looking for in combatives. So again, slowly, here, as soon as my hand touches my head, that's my cue for action. Here, poof, and I'm out with the axe hand. Drawing back as soon as I've made contact to really bring power into this shot. Alternatively, what I can do is from here, hit with this first, in a hooking hammer fist, then out for an axe hand and back into the cycle. It depends how practiced you are, how much you want to do, reliance wise on speed or power. If you want big impact for your first shot, then you get the axe hand. If you're confident and comfortable and you want to get that weapon in his face immediately, then almost a half strike before you're into your hammer fist cycle again. So quickly now here.
Going to look at two additional ways of employing the pen. Again, if I find myself in a situation where I might have a potential problem, then it makes sense to access the tool. It's in my hand already. If I'm in a situation, give you a scenario, I'm in a lift, confined space, nobody has actually approached me, so I'm not going to stand here and use any degree of situational control to protect space because nobody's said anything to me. But it might be that I've got somebody to my side. I'm not at any point going to allow an individual to get behind me. So I'm going to put myself in a quarter step here, and I'm going to put my hands in a position where my hands are higher than his. So I might employ the common Jack Benny stance here, or what we know as the Ed Sullivan here, where my arms are folded, not interlocked. But I'm in a position where I can use my hands to bring them into play quickly. I've also got soft focus where I can see in my peripheral vision there's a potential threat here if my instincts are ringing. If from here something happens which believes me to feel that I'm going to have a potential problem, then I'll access my weapon. Depending on what side the individual is will depend how I bring it into play. But in both instances I'm going to integrate the use of my empty hand skills. So as an example, my pen carries on the left side. My left hand is my dominant hand, although I do train both. Let's say I've got a potential threat to my left hand side. So what I'll do as covertly as I possibly can is I'll scratch my head and I'll access the weapon. So I've now accessed the pen from my pocket, disguising it with a little bit of artifice, and I'll hold it across my palm like this as a stabbing implement. From here I'm going to take it underneath my arm, and he's this side to me. From here, he's side on if you visualise that. From here, my starter for 10, if I feel that there's going to be a potential problem here, is going to be to whip this hand through and smash with the bottom of my fist using the pen bearing limb. So from here I'm going to whip this strike through and then follow with a cupped hand shot to the back of his neck. So I'm going to hit his chin and cup his head to bring it down. This now is chambered for frontal stabs up into the face or chest area. So the whole thing will look like this. From here, if I've got a potential problem, I'll scratch my head and access, disguise the setup. From here, strike and hit, and finish the fight like that. Sticking with the same line of thinking, this particular time the possible aggressors to this side. Okay, so again, same thing. I'll just use artifice, access my weapon and hide it. What's important now is that this side here is that I don't show the weapon from under my arm. I must kind of deceive it and hide it under here. So here I'm stood. Now nothing may happen, in which case I'm fine, but if it does, I'm proactive and I'm ready to go. From here, my first motion as he encroaches on space is just going to be to throw out an axe hand from here. Throw out an axe hand here and I'm chambered to stab. As soon as I've hit with the axe hand, I'll grab whatever he gives me and then hit on every line. So from this side on position here, I'll scratch my head and access the weapon, hide it here, and as soon as it starts, bring it into play quick. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in one of my students, Neil. Neil, come in, just so we can show the application on a live assailant or opponent. So if Neil's this side to me, he just might be giving me that vibe, you know, kind of might be staring into my face, whatever. He might have took a drag on a cigarette, blown the smoke into my face, whatever. So from here, I've just kind of covertly accessed the tool. From this position here, I'm going to hammer fist through and strike him. I'm not going to wait until he does something and react. I'm just going to hit him here with this shot. As I hit through with this shot, continue the momentum and bring him through here with the cupped hand. From here, as you can see, I've opened all the target lines. Neil just turns around from this slap to continue my assault with the pen. Okay, working from this side, if Neil's this side now, from here, and he's giving me that kind of feeling that there's a problem. I mean, don't get me wrong, I might not make this as my first response. If my response must be immediate, then I'll just go straight to striking. But from here, if I've got foresight and awareness, I'm going to kind of access the tool here, making sure he doesn't see it. If he makes any motion towards me from here, I'm going to strike out with this shot, grabbing a hold of him, and just pound into every line that's available here. So what we're going to look at now is a method of training that on an impact pad. So from here, all we're going to do, Neil's got a pad up here. I've already accessed the tool, as we know. I'm side on. It's in my hammer fist here, using the bottom of the fist. From here, I'm just going to hammer through, first motion. So we'll tilt the pad so I can get that shot. As I come through with this shot, I'll cup with the other hand, bringing it forward, which simulates the head and body. From here, we'll just stab with the pen. Okay, so from here, real time. One more. From here. Here. If we look at the strike from the other side, I've accessed the tool, however. From here, I strike coming through, hammer fisting, and then bringing the slap through. Then come up under this line to pump in the pen. The final one that we looked at was if I'm the opposite side. So my first strike is going to be from my free hand. Okay, in this case, I'm just going to employ an axe hand, coming straight out into the high line, hitting him wherever, face, throat, centre of body mass, just here, boom, just going to get a hold of him here. So from this position here, I've covertly accessed the tool and I'm hiding it. I'll strike out, which puts me in a position to chamber straight away, and then I'll stab in repeatedly over to this line. So I'll just show you once, real time. I'll just deceptively access from here. Finish the fight real quick. One additional tool that's worth a mention here is the use of a simple pencil. Only problem with a pencil is carry. There's not really anywhere on your body that you can carry it effectively in order to access it quickly. One option is a jacket pocket in the outside or inside pocket. There's also a slight danger that you might impale yourself somewhere. But the idea of the pencil is really good. Got this concept from a guy called Tom Keir, who's practitioner of Sayok Kali, the art of the blade. Basically, whenever he travels anywhere to do seminars, he carries an array of pencils, kind of a waistcoat with specifically designed loops that he carries loads of pencils in. He likes the pencil as a tool. Basically, the way he'll use it is he'll stab it straight into a large muscle mass, for instance a thigh, and then snap it off in the wound to aggravate the wound and to prevent the function of the same. So basically what you've got, a large muscle mass works on cross-sectional fibres that contract and pull together to create movement. If there's a foreign body jammed inside of that, it can't function. So it's a really good method to use in quite a low level of force also, obviously unless you pick more dangerous targets, what we're not talking about here. So the simple concept is to drive the pencil into the large muscle mass, snap it off, and then make your exit. So just from here, straight in, snap it off in the wound, and he's not going nowhere. Okay. This time we're going to employ the use of a metal watch as our synthetic ally, as John calls it. From here I'm going to employ deception. I may have been approached by somebody, obviously wants something from me. From here I'm going to use a distraction as I chamber my strike. In this case my strike is going to be either a hammer fist or an axe hand strike, something coming with this motion. Okay. I'm going to employ the strike with the metal watch. So as I come through the target, I'm going to aggravate the wound I create by breaking the skin. The actual point of the strike is the impact and my follow-up, but an additional strike and the deception is going to be supplied by the watch. So from here my simple motion might be, look mate, I haven't got any money but I've got a decent watch, do you want that? Now I'm chambered for my strikes to come through. So as an example, look mate, I ain't got no money on me at all, I've got a decent watch though, do you want that? Okay, another additional piece of kit that we might look at to carry, again in our personal carry when we're out and about, is a tactical flashlight. This is a superb piece of kit to have. Primary function is going to be as a light source, so you want one of these with a high LED output to give you a good flashlight. Obviously useful for nighttime environment. If you work within security, it's an essential piece of kit, but also good for a private citizen. What you can get is something basic like this. This has got three LED outputs of light. Reasonable light source in a darkened environment, but quite a long, hard bludgeoning type tool. Work excellent coming upward to hit up under the chin as well as coming downward. You can play with your kind of access, drawing from your pocket, drawing from your sleeve as we see in the manual. You might go for something a little bit smaller like this. Here again, handheld. Ideally you want the lens cap to protrude from the bottom of the fist because this strike is made for the hammer fist strike. Here I'm going to cap the end so it doesn't come through this way. So hold it like this. Like we said before, anything you hold in your hand you can strike with. This is a basic cheap one I found at a boot sale for about £2.50. It's got basic light source but nice to hold in the hand. Also reinforces impact to the fist if you prefer to punch. Surefire make a really good line of torches and flashlights. This one here is kind of a copy of in between what they call the E2D Defender, which is quite a long one, and the E1 Executive, which is a smaller one. This one has got the best of both of those two products from here. It was made by the Gadget Shop, which are now gone into liquidation, 30 quid, but great output of light, and it's got indentations around here which are ideal for striking. I carry this particular one here in a belt loop carry, so from here it's just pat and it's accessed and it's out. So one option you can use is just to flash, dazzle your potential aggressor, get away, get offline, get off the attack line, reassess the situation, see if you need to continue, or you could just flash and run, or as I prefer, flash and then bash. Possible problem here, maybe starting to get a bit aggressive.
What's your fucking problem, man? Where you going?
In this example I'm going to show you how to use simple newspaper as an improvised tool. I'm not going to roll it up and use it as an impact weapon as you might think. Instead I'm just going to use it as it is. Now, here's an example. I'm in a public place. Now I'm not saying that I want to stand anywhere in a public place reading a newspaper. That's contrary to what I would teach. That would put you in a switched off state. But if you carry a newspaper about your person, and you happen to be in a kind of situation where it might develop into a problem, then you can employ it. So for instance, if I'm here, say stood at a bus stop, there's a problem individual close by, he's trying to get into my circle of defence. From here what I might do is reel him in by letting him think I'm switched off, looking at my newspaper. As soon as he approaches, I'll control space. If I feel the situation's called for, then I'll just blindside him. Blind him with the newspaper from here, and then just strike through the centre. So the simple motion from here will be cover, this kind of motion, or cover as I access to go to another weapon here. Simple use of the newspaper.
Right, I'm now going to demonstrate the use of a dog chain as a whip, or like a cosh if you like. Basically, you're out with your dog walking, you've got some kind of problem, from any position really, like this. You don't want to give too much slack on this as you won't have control over it. Wrap it around your hand once, nothing wrong with that, you're walking your dog, so what, big deal. Go around like this, as the guy approaches, what? And just whip it out right across his face like this, and cycle back down. It's like a number 4 line. You can go 2, 1, any of those angles really, it doesn't matter. Alternatively, what you could do is whip it across his ankles and then come up across the side of his face like that. Depends on the situation and how far you want to go with it. I wouldn't advise taking this and using it to wrap his neck up or anything like this as you need, because you never know what might happen. Besides that, you've left both his arms free. For all you know, he could be carrying a weapon. So it's a quick preemptive strike. From here, you'd have it over your shoulder like this and just whip it straight across his face, but I prefer just to keep things nice and tight like this. Commonality, my pen is here when concealed, my flashlight when concealed, my cosh when concealed, it's all the same. So just from here, move offline, assess, see if you need to continue with any of the strikes. You could also throw this first as like a distraction type strike, straight out into his face, as you've seen Lee do with the keys, with the pen, with the newspaper. Take his vision away, and then smash him with your gross motor strikes, whatever you prefer.
Okay, back at our secret garage location again. What we're going to do is pick up on the another example of using an improvised cosh. Okay, in this example, not the best one in the world, but it's basically a power lead with a plug on the end, which is going to cause devastating damage when it's flailed at somebody. I remember reading a case in the paper about somebody who broke into the house of a single mum, and she just boiled the kettle. She put the kettle right over the face of one of them, and snatched out the power lead and just beat the granny out of him with the plug. Took care of both of them. Apply with combative mindset, you know, the same thing will happen here. Just got a plug and a lead wrapped around my hand. Now, obviously, I'm not going to walk around with this kind of thing, so it's going to be a weapon of choice if I'm somewhere where this is close to hand. Kettle flex is a good example. I might unplug something if I hear someone in my house, whatever. This is basically some kind of improvised cosh. Or I'm going to use it from here, wrap it around my arm, leave a controllable length here to strike with, and just use basically the angles that we'd use for the knife. So here, 1, 2, just flat, low and high. One of the things that we can use is an impact weapon. It's basically anything you can hold in your hand, but a cup also works well. Yeah, in the old days, in World War II, SOE used to use things like china. They use a chin jab with a china cup, where the cup would break into the face and china breaks sharper than glass. Here I'm just using a ceramic, so it's unlikely that it'll break, so it's more for use as an impact weapon than as an improvised edge weapon. But if it does break, my hand's quite protected from this kind of shape here as I smash it into my opponent. But what I'm going to use, again, only any good if I'm in this situation with a cup drinking a drink. You know, these kind of things can happen. Giving you an example, the doorman who I teach was on his way home after a shift, went to a burger van, still in his black and whites, went to go and order some food, had a problem with 2 or 3 lads that were going to kick off. He had the foresight to get himself armed, so he ordered a cup of hot black tea, put about 10 sugars in it, so it's like hot napalm. As soon as the guy started to aggress him, he just popped it straight over his shirt, right over his body. Damage limitation, didn't want to scald his face, but he threw it in his shirt. The guy was screaming like a little girl. Everyone was trying to get the shirt off him. He was in his car and he was gone. So job done. So in that example, he used a polystyrene cup of hot tea and threw the liquid into his face. Everything's valid. In this example, I'm going to use both. I'm going to use the liquid. If it's cold, it'll be a distraction. If it's hot, it'll be a painful one. And from there, I'm going to close space and strike with what I'm holding in my hand. Okay. So in this example, I've got a potential aggressor here drinking from my cup. Control proxemics. And from here, straight into the face. Job done. So far, the primary focus of this instructional has been on stuff that we carry, you know, what we've talked about. In addition to that, you might find anything of use that you can pull to hand while you're out and about. Now, we've looked at the use of a cup, throwing liquid into the face, closing the gap and smashing in with the cup. Well, we've mentioned it. In addition to that, a beer bottle, or if you're in a bar or in a pub and you've got a bottle in your hand. Now, I'm not suggesting that you break the bottle and use it as a jagged end. For one thing, you might cut yourself. For another thing, you know, you're looking at lethal force here. There's no need to go to that extreme. What we're talking about is using a bottle as an impact weapon, so a normal beer bottle. This comes from one of my training friends, Jimmy Fatwin, who come up with the idea of what he called the bottle dance. Basically, one of his mates was on a dance floor, a little bit pissed, a bit worse for wear, and he had a bottle in his hand, a beer bottle. We don't have a beer bottle here. All we've got is a Jif lemon bottle, but we'll use that. Bottle's a bottle. And he's basically on the dance floor and he's got a potential problem with somebody. The eye contact thing's been made, he switched onto the threat, can't exit for whatever reason. So he put into play an idea of what he could do. Basically, he used artifice by pretending he was slightly more drunk than what he was, which allowed the guy to get quite close to him, and then used the bottle as an impact weapon, as we'll see. So basically from here, the motion you're going to use is the bottom of the bottle. From here, my hands might be up, I might throw this lead hand out and then smash this straight down into the high line. Now, I might smash it straight into the face, which would be a higher level of force, or I might smash it into the chest or into the collarbone, anywhere. So basically the motion from here is just going to be strike and cycle in with it from here. Another way that you might use it from here is a hammer fist this way, just come straight through this way here with the strike. Or from here I might use the top end and fire it round into some kind of thrust or slap. So using a bottle, again with the concept, anything you hold in your hand you can hit with. Can we just go have a little look about what the kind of things we could carry in a car? So the most of this instructional has been about the kind of improvised kit we can carry on our person. The other thing to be aware of, if there's anything that's available to you while you're out and about, so for instance anything in a restaurant, in a pub, in a bar, anything that you've got in your house. But mainly what we're looking at is while you're out and about and what you've got on your person. The transition to that, from what you've got on yourself into where you're going, is going to be your car, your vehicle. Now, your vehicle in itself is, can be used as an improvised weapon. For a start, it can be used as a great barrier. You're in a 2,000+ pound fence. You know, if you get a problem, lock the door and shut it. You know, the easiest way to get around things like carjacking is keep your doors locked. You know, this kind of street smart savvy applies. But here, looking in the sense of what we can carry as improvised tools, one good bit of kit we can carry is a good strong mag light torch. Not only a good light source, but also a good impact weapon. Again, whatever you carry must have a primary function. This is a light source, secondary function, impact tool. A good edge weapon to carry is a knife scraper. Great bit of kit, very functional, can hold it strong in my hand, keeps the wrist strong, and I can strike good cutting edge. In addition to that, I've got my key, should I need my key to pull my keys out, and we're back to where we were. Also any other tools, so I've got a screwdriver here, and if I keep a torque wrench spanner or something like that around, then my car can be quite an armoured little vehicle. Okay, just one other thing that I want to mention, I just want to show you. Now, we're not allowed to buy any kind of weapon by design, so any knife designed for combat, forget it, we're not allowed to have it. We're not allowed to have any pepper spray or anything like that. But if you've got the intention, then anything can be used as a weapon. I mean, even a pencil can become dangerous, as we've seen. But just one piece of kit that I've found in kind of a camping shop. I mean, you can find these kind of things available everywhere. And remember what I said about whatever you carry is going to have a primary purpose, a primary function. Well, this is a little survival tool that's got multiple functions. It's got a little magnifying glass here, it's got a measure, it's got a piece that pulls out for a little pair of tweezers. But here is its main thing. As you can see, it's a very sharp cutting-edged weapon. It's a tin opener, a bottle opener, a multi-screwdriver set. It's got lots and lots of different functions. Therefore, you know, I'm perfectly entitled to keep it. You know, a Boy Scout could go in a camping shop and buy this for £5. I mean, but look at it as a cutting tool. I mean, so go in these kind of places and have a look at the kind of things that you can get easy to carry that could also be employed in an emergency. I probably wouldn't carry this in my pocket, but again, another good addition for the car. Okay, just going to leave you with a couple of drills that you can do at your own leisure, homework drills if you like. One drill that you can employ is via visualization. Visualization is an excellent tool that we can use. A lot of athletes use visualization to great success. Wherever you are out and about, I want you to let's say you're sat in a doctor's waiting room. You're sat in a doctor's waiting room. Just want you to play a little scenario through in your mind. I want you to imagine all of a sudden that there's a potential threat. You're going to be violently attacked in any minute. You've got 3 seconds before you need to get into action. I want you to just scan the room and think about what you could employ quickly. So for instance, I'll probably get up and pick up the chair that I'm sat on and drive it through his head. If there's nothing really available or immediate to hand, I might crash in with empty hand tools and then use the environment. So for instance, I bounce them off walls, door ledges, off the floor, whatever. It's all relevant. Just wherever you sat, could be you know, I don't know, in a traffic queue, just think about somebody smashing your window, what you'd pick up to deal with the threat at the window, because obviously you'd have your door locked. Think about you're in a supermarket, you're walking down an aisle, all of a sudden you've got a problem. What would you pick up? Pick up a can of baked beans and cycle through his head. Just visualise these kind of things about how you would put it into practice real quick. That's just one visualisation drill you're going to do, so you're not going to do it in the physical sense. Another drill you can do is basically the same, but you are going to get physically armed. Which is probably better when you're on your own, so nobody thinks you're a lunatic. So if you sat in your front room, for instance, get somebody to time you. Say, right, you've got 5 seconds to get armed. Just get up and grab anything and get yourself into a position where you could use it. I mean, don't pre-rehearse it before you do the drill and think, oh, I'm going to grab that when it goes off. I just want you to just do it randomly. So just maybe look around, have a little scan, and then grab what the nearest thing you can. All these things will do is give you that kind of edge that you need to get prepared. For these kind of things. All of this kind of combative training, regardless of whether it's employing a weapon or not, all comes down to one thing, to the mindset and to the willingness. But if you practice this kind of crisis rehearsal in your head, you know, and these kind of physical drills, you're going to have a much greater chance of success. I'm just going to summarise the whole thing for you now. We've looked at what we can carry and employ quickly. We've looked at some of the things that we might employ in whatever environment we're in. We've looked at what we can have in our car, etc., etc. Certain things can fall into certain categories. For instance, some improvised weapons lend themselves best to use as a barrier. So for instance, a dustbin lid, a briefcase, a chair. Great barrier to create between you and somebody with an edged weapon. Other things are more conducive to being used as a projectile, you know, liquid, spare change in your pocket, keys, dirt from the floor, whatever. Other things can be used better as an impact tool, others again are better as an edged weapon. Yeah, so all these factors are relevant. Any of it is only of any use to you if it's in your strong dominant hand when you need it and you've got the awareness and foresight to use it. I keep coming back to this point because basically it all comes down to this. There's a model that a lot of us use. One of my instructors in peers, Dennis Martin, has employed the vital pyramid, which was originally developed by Lofty Wiseman for the SAS. Basically the vital pyramid depicts all the crucial ingredients that you need for combat. The first of these, or the power base if you like, is mindset. Mindset is summed up by the willingness to do whatever it takes to win a fight. So what we're talking about is a winning attitude, not a surviving attitude. If our surviving attitude, or our attitude is to survive, then if we don't achieve that objective, i.e. survive, then what alternative have we got? If we don't survive, we're dead. We've got nowhere to move to. So if I had a situation with 3 lads and they kick the fuck out of me and leave me with a drip in my arm in the hospital and I can't speak no more, but I survive, that's a cop-out. If I don't survive, I'm dead. So survival is not really what we're looking at. What we want is a winning attitude. If I win in that situation, for one thing, the main thing is I'm going to be safe. I'm going to get home to my family. I'm not going to allow those individuals to change my way of life in any way. Secondary to that, I'm also going to teach these motherfuckers a lesson. You know, they're going to learn something that they can't just start on anyone and get away with it. So they're going to have satisfaction from that. The other satisfaction I'm going to have is the fact that I know when the shit and fan meet that I can do it. That's going to give me self-confidence so that I can withdraw from anything violent. If you have that kind of self-confidence through that kind of experience, the last thing you want is violence. You never want it again. If you never experience another violent confrontation in your life because you know what it's like and you know you can deal with it, then you're happy never to do that again. So that's one thing, it kind of gets the monkey off your back. So it's very productive all round if I develop the winning attitude and apply it in a situation that I need it. The whole thing about physical confrontation is negative. It all carries consequences. That's why the best thing is always going to be avoidance and escape. But if I must fight, then I must fight to win. So I must have the willingness to step up and do whatever it takes to win. That's the combative mindset. That's at the base of everything. I can have all the skills in the world, all the kit in the world. If I've not got the intention to do it 200%, then it's no fucking use to me. Simple as that. The next method that sits on top of the support structure of mindset is tactics. So for instance, my tactics are going to be, where possible, I'm going to be aware and switched on so I can avoid an escape. Best thing is don't be there at all. But if I am presented with a problem, in this case I'm going to arm myself to give myself the highest probability of success. My tactics are going to be proactive preemption. I'm going to hit first with a continuous attack employing speed, surprise and aggression until my threat's down. That's my tactics. Next on top of that are our skills. Our skills are whatever hard skill choice we employ. So for instance, whether it's a tiger claw, an elbow, a headbutt, a knee, a kick in the bollocks, whatever you decide to employ as your skill set. Skill set may be also conducive to an improvised weapon, using the hammer fist as we've seen, using a tiger claw, whatever, with a tool in your hand. So skills are secondary. Basically, combatives is 90% attitude. It's all about the mind. 10% skill. 10% skill fits into that. Whereas the majority of martial arts are 99.9% skill based, and the mental aspects aren't even addressed, maybe in passing. The final part of the pyramid is kit. Now kits can apply to what we're talking about, the subject of improvised weapons. So for, let's say for a military, a frontline infantryman, say in Basra or Iraq or wherever, his main thing is going to be his firearm, his secondary sidearm, any kind of edge weapon that he may use, and any less than lethal weapon that he may use to control crowds. That's going to be the predominant thing of his kit. If you look at law enforcement, particularly in this country, they tend to be too kit orientated. They've got nice big shiny belts with OC spray, stiff cuffs, ASPAT and all the rest of it. This is their kit, it's relevant to them, law enforcement. For the private citizen, like we've said, we're not allowed to carry anything. So ours need to be tools that we could get away with carrying, such as the pen, the phone, the keys, the flashlight, etc., which could be employed in an emergency as an improvised tool. This is our kit. Other aspects relevant to our kit are the clothing we wear. So the shoes that we've got, we need non-slip soles, we need sturdy ankle support, lace-up shoes, slip-on shoes, slip off. Can you run in those? Can you fight? Can you move in those jeans? Are they too tight? Can you move in those clothes freely? So how we're dressed is relevant, and that's all part of our kit, as is the tools that we carry and that we've talked about. But they're only of any use if the mindset factor is massively in play. And even then, when it is in play, how you train is how you fight. So you need to make sure that if you're going to have any hope of employing an improvised weapon, then you need to practice. You need to, when you're walking along, just covertly access the tool and walk along with it in your hand so nobody can see it. Practice these kind of drills walking through the park. I might access my pen and just walk on. Nothing else will happen. I'll just have it in my hand, no one to see it. I know that I can successfully bring that into play if that's the case. That's live practice. Practice on impact equipment. Practice under pressure. Practice your draw while somebody's got some boxing gloves on and they're trying to knock you out. Get that fend cover coming on and get this pen out sharpish. Practice these kind of things under pressure so that you've got a good support system. Bear in mind that the primaries here are the main thing is your game plan. Awareness, avoidance, escape, situational control, preemption, forward pressure, lots and lots of aggression. Everything else is a supplement to that, improvised weapons included. Hopefully you'll never need to employ any of the same. Peace.
virtually everybody in this day and age carries one, and
Fuck it.
virtually everybody in this day and age carries one.
I don't care.
So it makes sense to know how to use it tactically if the going gets tough. No, rewind.
No, leave that in. Go with that. That's a great outtake.
No, we're not putting that one in. Okay. We're now going to take a look at the use
There's a thief loose on the grounds. He's carrying a brick.
Half a brick.
Smash them into the face, or as I prefer, as a projectile. So from here I'll access, fling them straight into the face, but I missed. Limited to a potential threat. I'm just going to kind of straighten my tie from here and just pull and access the tool to come out and strike. The way that I can disguise the setup is with an initial strike to start with. So my first motion from here, as I'm doing my tie, will be to access. As I strike, from here I'll just pump it all over to the low, middle and high line. This is the tie dagger deception that we can strike with, which is what we're really looking at primarily. Now you can get something quite cheap like this, basic type of 3 LED output of light, which will just give you a reasonable light source and a good impact weapon. But this kind of thing, I mean, you have all sorts of carry. So you might carry it here and draw it out real quick this way. Obviously, like McCann says, the quickest draw is no draw at all. So if you know you've got a problem, then you have it in your hand. This where it's protruding. For fuck's sake.
Something in here's not right today. Why am I so uptight today? Paranoia's all I